Words can create worlds. What makes for good writing? We'll find out today on Into the Words. Welcome to Into the Words. I'm your host, Mr. McGrath. Let's dive right into it. Today we have a short story from Kaysen, a fourth grader here in Savannah, Georgia. The story is titled The Bill. Kyle said, "You ready?" Kat said, "Yeah." They got in the car and drove to the campground where they saw camper vans, campers, and campfires. They got out and went and got the campground number. They walked to the camp area and set up camp. Kat went to the lake and started swimming, and Kyle went walking. Along the lake, he saw something on the ground. It was a $100 bill. "Wow!" Kyle thought. He put it in his pocket and continued walking on. He walked back to camp. Kat was worried about him, and Kat was furious. Kat asked, "Where were you?" Kyle said, "I was walking around." "Look at your hands. They're glowing." "What?" Kyle disappeared. Where he had been, it looked like the same place, but black. Then, poof! Kyle was back. Kat backed away. "What?" Kat screamed. Kyle passed out. He woke up 15 minutes later, coughing. "What happened?" Kyle coughed. Kat said, "You passed out. You were gone." "No, before. Where was I?" "You disappeared. Let's go home." "But no, we are not talking about this. It never happened." Kyle woke up around 3 a.m. He got up and pulled his pants on. His pocket was glowing. He reached in and took out the $100 bill he had found. He thought to himself, "This must be the reason I teleported or vanished or whatever." He quickly ran outside and grabbed a shovel and started digging a hole. He put the bill in and covered up the hole with dirt. Many years later, a girl named Kylie asked her mother, "Can I go dig outside?" Kylie's mom said, "Yes, honey, you can." "Thanks, Mom." The girl dug. She found a $100 bill. Her mother was watching her from the window. Kylie picked up the bill and disappeared. Her mother screamed. And that's where it ends. And this is an excellent study in character, setting, and plot, and how to make them come alive, even in a short piece like this. Beautiful work here that he starts out at the beginning here with some dialogue. Instead of the exposition like, once there was a boy named Javier and he was 14 years old. No, jumps right into it. We get a sense of the characters. We get a sense that there's a boy and a girl. They drive, so they're at least driving age, but they generally seem on the young side. They're going to a campground. Look at the sense of setting. Campground. There's camper vans, campers, campfires, with that repetition. Campground, campergrounds, campers, campfires. And so we get a sense of the setting without too much detail. Notice here, not a lot has happened, and yet we have a pretty good sense of character and setting right from the beginning. You have to establish those before you jump too much into a plot. They get the camp. Okay, everything's totally normal, and then, boom, that turning point. So that's what you have to do with a plot. Start off, just kind of get things moving, and then, boom, that's when something happens. He finds this bill, and notice the big thing doesn't happen just yet, though. This is called pacing, so you don't just vomit the plot all over the place all at once. Like, there's these boys that got in a fight and he went to the hospital and he broke his arm. And it's like, and the story's over as soon as you begin. It's like, take your time. Like, introduce. Let us think about this $100 bill. Kat is angry with him. Now we're getting a sense of the dynamic between the two characters. She's demanding, "Where were you?" And then the hands, the passing out, the plot goes on. The plot really develops here. And then when he comes back, notice this. We get a real sense of the character and the relationship between the characters, which is just as important as who the character is, in fact, it's a more important relationship between characters, that Kyle says, but, and Kat interrupts him, no, we are not talking about this. It never happened. And so we understand that relationship dynamic, that she's a little bit more of the take charge kind of person here. And of course he agrees with her. And so he goes and digs the hole. So we have just the plot moves on here. And in terms of the structure of a plot, that exposition, rising action to climax and falling action, you can see we're following that slope, and in a short story very quickly. I'll tell you honestly, a short story like this is actually sometimes more difficult to write than something that goes on for 8 or 20 pages, because you have to get right to it. You have to be concise. And then we have this turn. There's a blank line there to indicate the passage of time. And then we have this girl, Kylie, the overlap of the names, goes outside, she finds the bill, she disappears, and we end with the mother's scream. And this is just a wonderful setup, and using some time-honored traditions of the talisman, like if you're familiar with the amulet, graphic novels, and of course Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe, similar, the passage to another world. And the reason this works so well is that it gives us characters, setting, and plot where everything's clear, but without too much exposition where the narrator is just explaining everything to us. There's the boy Javier, and he's 14 years old, and he's in 6th grade, and he goes to this school, and he likes wearing orange socks. And just get to that story. Have the characters walk and talk and do things and interact with one another, and all that character setting and plot, you'll find, kind of takes care of itself. So that's something you can use on your writing. Thanks for joining me today here on Into the Words. Would you like your writing to be featured on Into the Words, young writer? Send it to jamie.mcgrath@sccpss.com.